Hello, my name is Aviv Melman. I'm going to be talking a little bit about how I manage my stage fright. So for me, stage fright has always kind of been a big part of my life. Right now, I work at a job where I do have to speak to large groups of people. So I did actually have to learn how to speak in bigger groups, and that's also another reason I wanted to take this class. I think it's super important to learn how to communicate and how to speak to people. Because when it comes to stage fright, it's really hard not to just freak out and freeze on stage. I definitely am someone that, when it comes to freeze or flight, I definitely freeze when I'm stressed. Whether that's me getting really hot or I get nervous or my face gets red. And so, in the past couple of years, I've kind of just had to learn how to develop my professional speaking and just how I speak in a group. I think it's super important that when you're managing stage fright, that you are worrying about your physical delivery, how your body looks when you're delivering it. And I know that for some people, that can be a struggle. I think for my personal doing, the best method for me has just been to practice and practice and practice, whether it's literally writing down my speech on a note card or just the most important notes I like to write and repeat. And I also will either record myself or have someone I know watch me and just tell me what I could have changed, what I did wrong. Maybe I used my hands too much when I talked, or maybe I was not using them at all. And I think those are all really important factors when it comes to speaking, especially if you're already anxious. I think that if you present yourself as someone that looks anxious, people are not going to listen to you as much just because personally you don't want to listen to someone that they don't really know what they're talking about. So I think it's super important to make sure you look like you know what you're talking about, you did your prior research about the information you're speaking about, and that you also understand your audience a little bit. That can sometimes be difficult. If you have a younger audience, you might want to speak more loudly or a little slower so they understand. So it's definitely important to work on the rate at which you speak. I think that also using all those filler words like so, like, things like that kind of make it harder as well for people to continue to listen to you because you can only talk for so long. And so once you start to lose ideas, you kind of just go into those filler words. And so for me personally, I've just been practicing managing my stage fright by practice, 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 because it really is the only way. I've found myself getting really, really sweaty or really, really cold, just depending on where I am. And then people in the audience look at me and they're a little confused. So I definitely like to worry about how I look, not worry too much about how everyone else looks, just because at the end of the day, I'm only up there for a limited amount of time and I want to be able to get my message across. So, when it comes to the message, I think at the end of the day, if you know what you're talking about, you should be good to go. But other than that, I would say that stage fright didn't take too much of a toll in my life. I work at a job where you already have to speak in large groups of people, like I said, and so I think that working on the stage fright, the factor and managing it really changed how people listen to me. I now speak much more clearly, and I'm a little less nervous when talking to people about basically any topic. And again, even if you don't know the answer to certain questions, there's always a way to respond to it, so people still might not get an answer, but might not be confused. And so I think that all that is super important because at the end of the day, you're the one on the stage. You're putting yourself out there.